When I left my corporate job at the age of 53 last year, 2024, I thought that 30 years of experience would be enough to get my business off the ground. Last year, I did start dipping into my savings so that I can achieve these dreams. There are certain things that I wish I had known before jumping 100% into a business before starting working online, creating a business online. Today, I'm going to show you like a few steps on making sure that you don't fall into these pitfalls, which I did, so that you can have a successful online business. So let's get started. The one thing that I would recommend is make sure you have cash flow. One of the things that you should think about is to calculate your monthly expenses. Like before you decide to say, okay, I'm going to go 100% into starting a business, make sure that you have cash flow. So a lot of the times, a few of us are thinking, I'm tired of my job. Like I was tired of my job. I was tired of working in corporate for 25 years. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And I just took the leap of faith and went in 100% to go in as a entrepreneur. I was looking to become an entrepreneur, and changing that mindset of employee mindset into an entrepreneur mindset was one of the things that drove me to starting a business. I did quit my job, and there was two reasons. One, I quit the job because I was tired, but I also had to help my father, who was sick last year, to help him with his medical needs. But I realized that one thing that I should have done is calculated my expenses 100%, because to be honest, life still goes on. Bills still come in, emergencies happen, and you got to be prepared. So the one thing is I would calculate your expenses. So like let's say if your monthly expenses is $5,000 a month, make sure that you are making enough money. Either if you're tired of the job, switch to a job that you like, but make sure that you're covering your bare minimum expenses. You know, sometimes you will assume that your new career or your new business will generate in 3 months. I'm like, don't worry, 100% I'm going to start making money. And yes, I have to dip into my savings, but you have to calculate, you know, that those in the next 3 months you're thinking, okay, I'm gonna make money in the 3 months. And you will only, what sometimes a lot of us would do, like for myself, is I saved about 3 or 4 months of income, and then you're saying, okay, I should be good if I put 100% into this online business, that I should be out of the red in 3 or 4 months. But here's what's the reality that really happens. A new career can take about 8 to 12 months. That's the real thing. It's going to take 8 to 12 months, and to generate an income. To be another thing is there's unexpected expenses pop up. So like if you have a house, if you have a mortgage, some of the things that might pop up is your roof start leaking, and you don't have income. That's the real thing. Like if you have a house, your roof starts leaking, or the car breaks down, you have to make sure that you have, now you're dipping more into, like if you save 3 to 4 months salary or income, and now you're dipping into more, and now it's, you only have 2 months of living expenses. So one of those things is stress will start to pile on. Like stress really, you start to, you're no longer sleeping at night, you're stressing about bills, you're not focusing on your business anymore, because like even for myself, I was stressed about my father, taking care of my father, and there was some relapse when he was sick. So those are the things that happens. One of the solutions that I recommend is, it's called the 18-6-3 rule. So the one thing that you're going to do is you're going to put away 18 months of living expenses. So put around, so if it's 5,000, put 18 months of expenses for 18 months. The six is you got to think of 6 ways that you are going to generate income for your business. So there are businesses out there that you could do one, and then you could do several, like making YouTube content. And then there's 6 ways you can make a YouTube channel where you can make money online. So think of 6 ways that you're going to generate income online. And then number three, you're going to run a test, run a 3-month test on your new career and keeping your day job. So one of the things before you quit your day job, run a 3-month test and see if you can do this while you're doing this business, so that you can see, okay, yes, I see that I'm able to do it. That's the 18-6-3 rule. It's one of the most important things. Number two is be careful of the insurance blind spots. I mean, for instance, here in Canada, I'm going to tell you, we do have free healthcare, which it's a blessing that I'm glad that we live here in Canada. But in some parts of the world, you don't have insurance. But here, for myself, when I was working, I did have insurance. That this is additional insurance on top of the public insurance. So I'm a diabetic. If you don't know, if this is the first time I'm telling you. And obviously there's medication that you need to pay for, your glucometer or other stuff that you need. And when I quit my job, I realized, before I was blessed with the company, they used to pay 100% of the medication. I didn't have to think about it. But when I started paying for myself, I was like, this is expensive. So it was an insurance blind spot I wasn't expecting. Sometimes you start a business, you don't think about that. You think about your living expenses, but insurance is part of the thing. I did get a private insurance, but it still costs a lot for me to pay to do that insurance. So think about your insurance before you jump into it. A lot of times here in Canada, which is great, then we have what's called public insurance that pays for medication, pays for a portion of it, but still doesn't, like, if your medication is very expensive, it only covers up to, I think, 60%, and you still got to come out of pocket. So that is something that you have to really think about, the insurance. What to do instead is, I would recommend doing some research on some health companies. Like, what I did is I picked up the phone, I called a few like companies and found out which one was the best options before I left my job. I said, okay, this one is good, this one's good. Or another thing you can consider, if you're married or you have a common law spouse, see if you can go onto their insurance, their health insurance. Because when my wife quit her job a few years ago, she came under my insurance, and which it covered everything on her side. So that was another thing, was good. Look for groups, health groups, like, fitness groups or whatever. And then also factor in your insurance, your health budget, your health insurance into your budget. So like, if I remember, I had to pay $200 a month for my health insurance. So factor that into your 18-month budget. That's very important. The next thing is that you want to do, this is number three, I would recommend doing what's called a financial stress test. Here's the stress. Do the stress test to see if you can do it when things get a little bit hard, when you're starting your own online business. So one of the things you're going to do is write down all your expenses. Once you, like, let's say your expenses is $5,000 a month, and then you're going to cut it in half. So it's $2,500. Live on that budget for the next 3 months, okay? While still being an employee. See how you're able to keep going with just half of that budget. So if it's, $2,500, can you survive 3 months in that budget? And then put the difference, because if it's $5,000, take that $2,500 and put that into the transition fund. So put that into your savings funds that you're going to save up your 18-month income. So like, let's say, take the $2,500, put it into income, live off that $25 a month. So here's an example, okay? Let's say I'm just going to use another example. Let's say your expenses is $8,000 a month. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to cut that into $4,000. So it's $4,000 a month. So you're going to put the $4,000 into your savings account for living expenses in the future when you're starting your business. And then do a reality check and see what happens after you're living in the $4,000 budget. See how can you survive? Is there something that you need to adjust? See is it really difficult? So you might want to, put a little bit more in your budget, your 18-month budget, because it's going to be very stressful. and see what happens when you transition. Like, okay, so that now you have that mindset of like, hey, I can live in $4,000 budget instead of 8,000. Okay. Number 4 is called the all-in syndrome. This is called the side door strategy and to save for the transition. One thing that you can do is work on your business 5 hours per week in your new online business. If you could put 5 hours a week into your new business, start that first before quitting your job. Instead of quitting your job and then thinking of trying to figure it out, the job, start it while you're working. Test your business while you're still employed. Like, one of the things that you want to do is make sure that you still bring in income, still, try to do it during the weekend. Build your product or service on, when you come home at night. Like, say if you work 9 to 5, you get home at 6, have supper, and then, do an hour of your business and build that business an hour a day for 5 days a week, or even 7 days. If you could do an hour a day, put that together. Start building it right away. Only leave your job, and this is the most important, only leave your job when your new online business generates 50% of your expenses. So that's the 50%. Like, let's say if it's the 8,000, your expenses 8,000, you could live in 4,000. Once your business is creating $4,000 worth of income, then that's the time you're going to start to think of leaving your business. Another thing is retirement. So you got to also think of, retirement, because a lot of us in our 50s, we have a large, if you've been working like myself for 25 years, you have an insurance that's built up, a retirement insurance over the years. And some of the times you want to withdraw from that. You guys call it 401k in the States. We call it retirement savings plan, and you want to dip into that. The one thing you have to really start thinking about is if you start withdrawing, you're going to hit penalties. Here in Canada, if you start withdrawing from your retirement savings plan, the government's going to take half of that money. So that's something that you will lose. You're going to lose what's called the compound effect. So over the years, when money is building, it compounds, and you're going to lose that money. So you're losing that compound. And also another thing that you also have to think about is tax I'm pronouncing that word wrong, but sorry. But you got to think about the taxes. What taxes you're going to have to file for next year, because that's an extra income on if you're still working, you're taking money from your retirement saving plan, that's added to now you're pushed into another tax brackets. Better alternative way is take a business loan. If you have a business you have a business plan, maybe you might think of taking a business loan instead of dipping into your retirement saving plan. Or if you have a house, maybe you can dip into your home line of credit instead of remortgaging your house. Or partnership. Maybe you have someone who has the same vision like you. Partner with someone. Maybe they could pay half, and it's half equity into a business. Another way is crowdfunding. Now we have websites you could do crowdfunding. You pitch your ideas to the public, see if people are interested, and they will give you money to fund your business. Or another thing that you can do is pre-sell your product. Say, hey, be the first to, like if you're creating a book, hey, be the first to get your book, pre-order your book, your ebook, and take that money so that you could publish your book, so that you get those businesses, you get that business going. So these are some of the 5 mistakes that I would recommend that you try to avoid and think about before starting an online business. If one thing that I would recommend is save this video so that you could come back to it. Run the half income test this month, and then comment below, what is your biggest concerns about changing careers, becoming an entrepreneur, from an employee to an entrepreneur. So if you found some value in this, please subscribe to the channel. It really helps. Like it, click the like button, and also hit the bell notification for every time I upload a video, so that you'll be the first one to get this information. Okay? If you have any questions, leave a comment below too. All right? Bye for now.